All right. Let's see how the markets are looking. Good morning, good morning. So we actually have a bit of a stronger start. Good morning, Mr. Buckeye. Okay, so RIME looks like it is currently moving. OBAI popped up a little earlier at around 5:30. Yeah, $4 to 12. Specifically, it looks like it did most of the move in like 3 or 4 minutes. Dang it, that's why I think shorting small caps is extremely risky. Certainly, my main thing I'm looking at with this stock too is how quickly did it move? Because assuming that I had my stop in place, because it would have to be a manual exit, right? Because these are pre-market trades. I'm asking the question, how quickly could I have gotten out? So just looking at this here. So I would have wanted to, this would have been my natural stop here, but it was all in 1 minute, this range. All right, so what would have been potentially a regular stop could have turned into, that's crazy, within just a single minute, that extra 30%. Oh yeah, I gotta check that one as well. I was just looking at this one. There was this one and PLYX. This one also seems like it did a big move. Whoa, okay. Yeah, and the daily chart on this one too. Very, very recent stock. Okay. I want to check it before the squeeze though here. So before it was getting some volume. Oh yeah, I need to check the nationality too. Okay, so this one was just a recent IPO slash reverse split that sold off entirely and then got all this volume right here. Good morning, Soul. Wow. $3 straight to 65 and then back. Insane. And it just kind of bled off. Of course, no news, so nothing behind this one. Now, this one would have also been disqualified for me, fortunately, but realistically, like, there would have been no way to really assess risk for this had I been in this stock. OBAI. Okay, hold on. What is this? So, the same exact pattern, recent IPO that's sold off. This is very suspicious. I'm looking at the daily here. These two stocks look like they came out at the same time. Same exact sell-off pattern. And to the same exact spike pattern. Very, very weird. Definitely need to look into this regardless. My criteria would have filtered this out, but OBAI, I would have taken this for like maybe an extra 20% loss just because of how quick this 1 minute moved if I was in it. But PLYX would have been entirely just been me avoiding this setup because there is no really timing getting out of this because this went straight up. And I mean, it's 1 minute. Thinkorswim. Well, let me see actually if I can look at this on Webull. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I think it's important to at least see if I would have been able to trade it. So I'm going to switch to Webull charting here. Just to see if I could have on the 1 minute actually, or not the 1 minute, like the 10-second chart, if I would have been able to exit. The 10-second chart. Okay. What am I even looking at here? So that entire move happened in 10 seconds. Let me switch to 5 second. Sorry for like hiding the screen, just because I have more stuff pulled up. Okay. So that entire move happened between 5 and 10 seconds. That is ridiculously insane. Okay. All right. Very interesting, for sure. I will definitely need to look into this too, because the fact that these two stocks are recent IPOs or reverse splits or whatever, they both ran at the same exact time, right? Same exact IPO-ish, same exact bleed down, same exact pump. This looks, and both have no news, right? No news. Yeah, no news. So there's something extremely manipulative going on here with this one. Might be around trip. I mean, I would assume. Very weird though. They're both United States too, which is making it even more surprising. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look into these two companies later because this looks extremely manipulative. Manipulative. The only thing that really would have kept me out of this would have been the recent IPO. It's still not great to see it. Good morning, Soul. Good morning, Lawson. Yeah, no, it's scary, right? Especially because these are rare moves. We had MPT, I think it was like maybe like 4 weeks ago. Something like that. This was on the 3rd. Yeah, so about 2 weeks ago. This one I definitely wouldn't have been in. The setup is horrible for this one, but still. This one was an obvious tell that it was unsafe. This one is not as obvious, right? US stock, it's really just the early IPO and then sudden sell-off. Now, it's very weird too, looking at the price action, looking into this more, it's actually very weird. The stock was at $50 a week ago, and it went straight down. Yeah, this the more I'm looking at this, the more weird it's starting to look. Why did this make such a huge drawdown instantly? And this one honestly similar. 39 to 3 is not a small drop. We have nothing else to look at the moment, so I'm going to look it up. TG17 rebrands. Yeah, this reeks of something suspicious. Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just potential recent lockup period combined with the extreme sell-off pressure. Could have been trapping shorts, but like it's very, very shocking. And the fact I'm having trouble finding history for this stock is very interesting too. Like looking at NASDAQ, it says it debuts on NASDAQ here, February 4th. It just sells off like 95% in like 1 week. PLYX did the same thing, but 2 days earlier. Also approved for NASDAQ listing. Also sold off 95%. And this one's very different, right? This is just a biotech company. Like it doesn't even seem like remotely related to the other one. They were both founded around a similar time. All right, they both went public about a week ago, but they were both founded around 2014, 2015. Yeah, according to AI, neither of these companies have traded under a new name. So these are genuine IPOs. Very interesting. And they both they both just sold off 95+% in a week and then did a massive pump. It looks highly suspicious. Yeah, RIME kind of grinding up a bit more, but not really what I'm looking for here. For a short anyway. Put my Zendu here. Yeah, despite these two massive movers, it doesn't seem like anything else is really moving right now. 25K, big 25K buy order, and it disappears. That's same fake buyers on RIME. What do you mean that same fake buyer? $25K isn't huge relative to the volume being traded here. No, I understand what spoofing is. I'm just looking for it and I don't see it here. Occasionally I've seen like a 10,000 order flash up on the level 2. I haven't seen one that's like a 25K order that just keeps disappearing. I wouldn't actually even say it's spoofing, right? If you're using an NBBO, right, the order would need to show up on the bid. You wouldn't see it because it's... What do you mean? Like... So, like, a spoofed order is an order that is put there to look like a buy order but isn't, right? So... if this much volume, if like there's hundreds of thousands of volume going through every minute, spoofing is really, really dangerous, right? For the spoofer. Yeah, for your level 2, are you using national best bid offer or are you using like a total view or something? Because my point is if you're using national best bid offer, they would have to be showing up on the bid, right? And if they're showing up on the bid, then I would not really call that likely spoofing. That's just somebody who's just trying to fill an order. If you're getting hundreds of thousands on some of these minutes, a 25K order can easily be taken out. As it turns out, I wasn't even able to short this stock. Curious, does the same thing apply to OBAI? Yeah, same thing with OBAI. So these stocks weren't even shortable. I am suspicious of how many shares are actually tradable in these companies right now. Let me look at this differently. This downward pressure was not shorting, right? This is too recent of an IPO. If you didn't know, normally when a stock goes public, no company or no broker will let you short them because there's no locates available yet because they haven't been located yet. So the fact that this died like this, and same with OBAI, the fact that both of these died 95% plus drops in a week with no short pressure. I mean, would that be insider selling or how does that even happen? Like, I would call manipulation, but realistically, who would be manipulating it? If you can't short it, and there's probably a lockup period, so it really shouldn't be insiders dumping it. How could a stock logically drop this quickly with no news? I genuinely don't have an answer. And on relatively light volume too, right? You're seeing like 200,000 volume, 200,000 volume. You're letting Rhyme pass again from 382 to 464. What do you mean by like pass? It already did. So what I'm looking for is a stock that hasn't made a second leg continuation from the previous day. That's one criteria I'm looking for. So because this stock just did this move on Friday, to me, this signals as a continuation, so I don't want to be a part of it. No, I'm not interested in shorting this. No. All right, I've got my criteria. If you couldn't tell, by the way, I am a little bit tired. I've probably spent about 20 or 25 hours of this 3-day weekend just running simulations. I have been on the grind. So, but yeah, I've really hammered down on what I believe I want to be doing here. So I have a much better understanding. Rhyme is up on news this morning. I don't see news on it. No. I mean, it had news on... Did it have news on Friday? No, that would have been the 13th. $6:15 a.m. today. Okay, yeah, it's just not showing up for me then. Yeah. The timing is weird though. It got the actual movement at 6:50. Yeah, I don't have any news on it for this morning. You rode RIME 127 to 260 or 620 and playing again. AI tracking play, no brainer, organizes a disorganized field of business. I mean, if you find something that works good, like that's a huge thing to run. So you're saying you wrote it, this entire thing. All right, I mean, fair enough if you can do it. I have a little trouble believing that you wrote this whole thing, but I mean, hey, if you did, kudos to you. Also, no, this one's been out for about a year. Okay, yeah. So this one's just been mostly stable. That's why I thought it was new. Never mind, my news app is tripping. It was for Friday. Yeah. Good morning, Key. Yo, Key, did you see PLYX? Look at this. Look at this monster. I gotta change it so I don't have to keep manually changing it like this. Look at this thing. Straight up. This was a 10-second move, by the way. 10-second move straight up to 65. I wouldn't have been able to... This wasn't shortable, and same with OBAI. This also wasn't shortable. But these both had a 95% drawdown on the daily. I'm definitely going to do some investigation into these, because while I wasn't able to short them, so I wouldn't have gotten hurt from them, and they also didn't meet my criteria anyway, so I wouldn't have really been in danger of taking these losses, but it is still very scary just to see them, like, around in general. Certainly very scary. Yeah, VHub getting some volume here. And look at it, this same pattern. Okay, what is VHub? Yeah, I don't really want to screw with this one because same thing. Very recent IPO, almost the same day, sold off super hard. Right, $25 down to $240, and now we're seeing volume come in. Like, also, I can't even short it. Yeah, so like I can't even short it. So I guess that's a safeguard, really, right? Even if some of these recent IPOs can spike up, like sell off entirely then spike up, it doesn't appear that they're shortable in general. Blue skies over 1530. I mean, am I blind? Like, isn't it just... Isn't the peak price like up at 40, not 15? Algo spike. No, there's a problem though. Like, look at this on the daily. I don't understand it. So the stock IPO'd like a week ago and sold off from around $50 straight down to 240. Like 1 week losing 95% of its value. This can't be short pressure. When a stock IPOs, you're unable to short it until the locates become available. And that usually takes like a month or something. SMX suspension. Okay. Yeah, that's, look at this systematic selling too. So you're saying suspension. It traded on Friday. Oh, but it's not showing up for me. Oh, no, there's a reverse split. Well, they just announced it, though. One for 4.8. So they did a reverse split. Or they announced one. Wait, they announced a freaking reverse split after this thing did the monster move that it did? Where it went up to like 450. Dude, this thing... I mean, I'm guessing they already diluted into it. That might have been what this was. So they're reverse splitting, maybe hoping for this to happen again. That's crazy. So they might be halted because of the reverse split. Right, because they announced it on the 12th. I don't see anything about a halt, though, pending the split. They're certainly halted. My trading charts have 1534. Oh my. Nasty, dude. And you know people bought into this, hoping to see a squeeze like the last two. A lot of mind games going on with these moves. Yeah, VHub. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. Yeah, this thing just collapsed. Ross bought it and sold. It dumped. Well, where did he buy? So it started getting volume around here. I'd be curious to know where, because he definitely bought in this 5-minute candle range. Right, he was definitely looking for some sort of place similar to PLYX. On the last green candle, he bought. Okay, so if he bought on this candle, all right, we'll give him best case scenario. Best case, he bought at 3, sold at 350. And sold like 2 seconds later. Like, why would you sell 2 seconds later? Unless, I mean, I guess there could have been a big seller, right? Considering that this stock sold off like this, it is possible that he bought into this and there was some red flag. Like, I don't know for sure, but I would anticipate if the stock dumped this hard. Well, no, even looking at this, the volume on this dump isn't actually that high. It's 170,000, which is a lot, but compare that to the volume pushing this up. Like, I guess Ross would be part of this pump, right? Because Ross probably bought like 10,000 or something. Maybe another 5 or 10,000 for his followers. But like, that's still not enough. There's like an extra 3/4 of this volume that came from somewhere else. Maybe just raw momentum. Yeah, and I guess it just ran out of steam. Considering this on the daily, go to this one just to show it better. Considering this on the daily, look, I'm looking at the volume. Yeah, even on this one, okay. Yeah, the volume isn't super heavy. So even relative to the move that we're seeing here, this volume is quite high. So he bought near the top of the why would you, okay. Yeah, why would you buy at the near the very top. Like, if you're buying here, the only logical thing would be to look for a continuation, like a new high. The only reason I would see him wanting to sell, and this could have, I think there's a real chance this is what happened, is that he bought here looking for the breakout, saw huge resistance, and bailed immediately. Like, to me, that's logical. And considering that there was selling pressure immediately after, some of this could have been his students bailing, but I suspect given the volume is this high, it's much higher than the push up. I suspect there was someone who started selling here. Not Ross, not a student, someone, a third party. No, yet normally anybody buying like up here, this would be like a break even, probably a loser almost 95% of the time. Good morning, Ofter. Good morning. No, it's... Yeah, I would be really... I really wish I still... I don't think I have access to the mentor room. I don't have access to the live stream, so I can't even check it. But I'm just very curious how Ross could have bought at the top of this candle and still made money. Because Ross doesn't usually cut it immediately, right? He usually gives it like a minute to run, or like 2 minutes to attempt to run. So if he bought near the top, he wouldn't have had time to wait for this rollover to start with the high volume. He wouldn't have had time. He must have gotten in, saw something he didn't like, and immediately bailed. Yeah, RME. Yeah, RME is still slowly curling up here. It's stair-stepping. He said, quick little scalp. Yeah. That's one way to put it. Very, very interesting risk-reward profile. Deciding to take a very little scalp right here. Before it could even blink. Yeah, it still seems like it's slow. My only real question is, how will this convert into actual momentum? Because these are, like, god tier level moves. Even this one, it was only 300%, but, like, this is still, that's an insanely good move, 300%. Will this convert into a market shift? Or will this just be a one-off dud? My main concern that it could be a dud and that this is just a random event is because, again, the daily looks extremely suspicious for both of these stocks. Yeah, VHub looks like it was a similar setup kind of play, and this one just didn't get the movement. MYNZ is moving. It's a bit cheap for me, though. Doesn't look like it has news at the half hour. 6 billion private placement. Yeah, I'd probably avoid this one. Just out of curiosity, what would a short give me? Okay, only 7% borrow fee, so not really hard to short. You can see all the things like the data set. Yeah, look at this data set I've been working on too. Right? Look at all this data that I've been scraping. Okay, back on track though. All right, short tests. Close this one out. Okay. Yeah, 6 billion private placement. It's quite a lot. Or no, this says million. You said billion. Yeah, I mean, this looks like million. Are you sure that's with an M? Are you sure that's not a B? That's an M, not a B. Looks like a million, 6 million, not billion. I mean, still significant, of course, but yeah. Also, yeah, the range is kind of big too. 80 cents up to $1.10. It's like a 40% swing. My bad, 6 a.m. No, I get it, dude. I'm tired too. I've been grinding away in doing research and doing back tests, but yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, I'm still trying to process the two bigger moves. It's just scary knowing that those kind of moves happen. Even though I wouldn't have taken the trade, and I couldn't have taken the trade, it's still very scary just to see that that exists in a vacuum. In at 473 on RIME. Good luck, sir. I mean, it has been stair-stepping up. All right, you could have a continuation play. I don't have any news on this from this morning. No way, you said that didn't happen. Okay. Yeah, but still. This made a big move yesterday. This could be a continuation play. You're getting very high volume on this whole grind up. Right, you also got this recent high here. So the fact that it got over this recent high, very interesting, but I'm really wondering for a bull case if this can hold this retracement, right? So you broke through this high, you've retraced now to it. The question is, was this a fake out to trap longs, or does this actually resolve? You're in at 436. Wow. Okay, so you've been in this for a good while, at least since back here. I think he can take those trades because he knows he will always have liquidity. I mean, fair enough. People in his chat room will always follow him trade blindly. Easy liquidity, if you ask me. Well, yeah, but you also got to trade logical setups, too. right? If you just trade anything that moves randomly, then eventually you would get called out for it. And I understand why Ross would trade there. That's the thing, right? So ignoring like the whole liquidity for exit thing, if you just look at this, the way it's moving, this is setting up to be a volatility squeeze. It has a similar daily chart setup. We've seen 2 instances of this stock squeezing massively. So seeing VHub show a similar characteristic pattern, right? And now it's starting to get volume. You're seeing it curl and attempt to break out here. It's logical for Ross to want to get in. And if he did get in here, you got to look at it that this thing didn't move past here. Now, could the top have been him selling? It's possible. If that's the case, it's very weird that he would not wait for a bigger breakout. I don't think Ross would genuinely do that, though. I think that there was something he saw, a hidden seller, something that made him get out. And I think that's backed up by the fact that this dumped hard immediately after on much higher volume, right? If this was purely a Ross pump and dump, there would have been less volume on this pullback. And the fact that there wasn't suggests otherwise. He always takes those. I think RME is the play today. You mean RME? It could be. GXAI moving. Exclusive teams up with TikTok parent ByteDance to supercharge AI video tools. GXAI. So if I attempt to short 183%. So I was able to short this one. I did have the option. Very high though. Which one is this? Okay, yeah. All right, 33%. So I'm gonna try to do one share, just get some orders ready. Okay, we are entering a first short here. Significant volume, but not crazy high for this kind of move, I think. Now we just be patient with it. Now, what was my fill price at? 43. So we're willing to go now, seeing how it goes from here. Okay, 400, 400. So still quite high volume. I am aware too that this stock had a recent big move. My criteria doesn't actually filter for this. It didn't suggest any edge filtering that way. So we'll see if this actually pulls back into green or not. This is a longer term hold, by the way. So we are not just cutting this unless I hit my stop. And I do have a mental stop for it. Small Green Day calling it, shutting everything down. Best of luck, fellas. You have a good one, sir. Glad that you got some green today. Dang, 183%. They crazy? 183% on what? Yeah, this might squeeze me out. It's moving much faster than I would have expected. Mm. We're coming up to resistance here. Still, increasing volume still, so it could definitely break it with that kind of volume. Did have one pullback, but it was quickly bought up. Just curious, what was the retracement levels for this on the prior moves? So this one retraced about 50%, maybe 60% from the highs. Right, 143 to 280s though, 260s. So it went up around 80% peak. This one went 110 to about 170s. It did end up touching this. Pretty big drop here now. Still quite high volume. I don't know, we'll have to see. Still, only one share position, so yeah, not a whole lot really on the line. This is more for just seeing how the trade played out kind of thing. We'll see. I will say this doesn't really look good for me just from a volume perspective, though. Could be basing here for the next leg up. We have had two pretty big drops, but this one was immediately bought up and covered. And this one, like, realistically, it looks like it's getting immediately bought up as well. It does suggest the potential for another leg up is higher. I should prepare an order just in case this does decide it wants to run. Yeah, 50 seems to have held here for this breakdown. So you had one pullback, immediately bought up, another pullback, very quickly bought up. You had a fake out here. I mean, I think it looks strong right now. The only question is this maybe overextended? Or is this the brief consolidation before the second leg up through this level? Still waiting for that 700% that'll get me that Lambo. I mean, maybe one day, right? If you were in the PLYX move, you could have gotten it. Just like, it's always just a pain, right? Imagining if you bought here at 3 and just sold into like that 70. There was 200,000 volume on it too. So like there certainly was opportunity, but the move literally happened in like 10 seconds. Yeah, I feel like this is more likely going to go up and stop me out than not. If it does, it is what it is. Is another data point. Still, because I'm using a margin account and can only trade 3 times in a 5-day period, it might become the case to where I use up my day trades in this account, and if that happens, I just switch back over to the cash account and trade my other strategy in that one. So we might see an instance where I start flip-flopping between strategies depending if I have day trades available in this account. So, I mean, this looks nice to see it pop up and then fail. Could suggest it rolls over, but honestly, given how many fake outs to the upside this has had, I'm more bullish than bearish on this, which sucks because I'm short, but we'll see. MY and Z fully failed. Yeah, and seeing it consolidate up here, it really looks like it's just consolidated for this break here. It's my read. Yeah. Popped up to that level. I have a feeling it's going to hold it too. I mean, it did drop back down, but I don't really believe that this is going to roll over. I think there's a higher chance it continues. We'll see, though. It didn't close above. I tried to short it on GXAI on Thinkorswim and couldn't. How did you short the stock? I'm using Webull. I'm just using Thinkorswim for the charting. So I'm just curious, if I try to short it again now there's no locates available. So I was able to short it here, but I wasn't able to short it 10 minutes later. So that's good to know, that if I am going to reserve shorts, I at least need to locate them, right, within these first few minutes of the move. Not necessarily needing to use them, but just getting them ready. Got out of at 471 RME. Not a bad trade. Good stuff. So yeah, you got in really early, Beach Tune. You got in really early. Good morning, Even. He's in a trade very exciting. Yes, indeed. A losing trade more likely than not, but a trade nonetheless. Yeah, nearly at stop out for me. Yeah, another potential breakdown. We'll see how this one holds, or if this just immediately reverses. I wonder if this is just going to be unshortable for the remainder of this move. So like if I keep trying to add here, maybe check it every like 5 or 10 minutes just to see if there was any noticeable impact on that front. Peak price was 181. Some attempted rejection off of this level. It's a similar pullback level to this, a little bit slower. We still haven't really seen the attempted bounce though. At least I'm in a trade now for once. Alright, Emmy, looks like it's backside now. Bouncing off the stair steps. It's just dropping. So, yeah, like, it was grinding up very slowly. It did have high volume, but I just didn't like it because it was a continuation. I never really back-tested continuation setups. It's not really what I was looking for. So, ultimately, it ended up breaking through this high, making a fake out, and then failing. So this break of high was actually the sell signal in this case. SUNE looks like a pop, and now it could be dropping. Was grinding higher too on no volume. No news on this move either. So this just kind of popped and is now dropping. Yeah, this is holding good. This is holding good. I would not be at all surprised if we see a retest here. Right, a very quick recapture. 53 back up to 70. IME might bounce off of EMA, but I don't know. It could, right? Like, again, it's a continuation play, so I have more confidence in it than a normal play. But it's just time frame is really hard to judge on it. Yeah, the next push up, if it does do another push up, that's going to be my stop. Mm-hmm. Very interesting how this resistance has been so well respected. But I still think it's going to break. Invert a head and shoulders. Kind of hard to say, but I am still more bullish than not. Honestly, like, ever since I've been in, probably the first 5 minutes, I've actually been more bullish than not. See if we get freeze. Okay, a little bit of a hiccup there. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the volume and the way that this has been bouncing. It's looked strong. Every single one of these breakdowns has been bought up immediately. Like within the minute. I am aware, too, that this was a leading runner, and I'm thinking about that. My backtesting didn't show anything that would prevent me from taking the trade with that. Maybe worth flagging. But I can't really say much beyond that. So yeah, we basically tested this area 3 times. Starting what looks like might be another pullback. Question is, how quickly does this one get bought up? All right, Emmy just doesn't want to die. Is it continuing to curl? I mean, it could just be a dead cat bounce right now, if I'm being honest. Right, this bounce is like a third of this pullback. Our Emmy is dead, bro. Yeah, I mean, it could definitely recover, certainly, right? And I mean, if you look at the grand scheme of the move, it's certainly not dead. Right, we're certainly still very high up here. I wouldn't really call it dead. Like, we're in some weird middle ground. Like, on the 1 minute, it looks like we might be dead. If you're looking at, like, the 5 minute. If you look at the 5 minute, this is certainly still on the front side. So it really depends on perspective. Yeah, GXAI, it looks like it's bouncing again here. It looks like this has gotten bottomed up once again. Um, I might need to set up a new hotkey because I have a flatten, but I think that's just a sell all. I don't know how that would work with short position. I can attempt to use the flatten key, see what it does. I don't know if it's gonna work though. I might have to just manually exit for now. Make a new hotkey. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so I cannot cover that way. I have to just manually enter it then. Okay. All right, we take a max loss on essentially the very first trade we took. Love to see it. And now watch it immediately reverse here. What was my fill at? Fill was at 84. Let's see if we timed at the top. It has been a while since there's green on this screen. I mean, it's been a cold market, plus I am trying out a new strategy. It will happen. Weeble's flatten is on market orders. So I'm able to use it. The flatten is specifically for a limit order, but because it is configured to sell the whole position as a limit order, I guess that doesn't work because I'm buying to cover. Yeah, they have flatten limit orders on Weeble. Let's see, the high was 87, so I was like 3 cents from the top potentially. This is why we start with one share. Good data. But yeah, this could just keep grinding higher too. Like, I can't keep holding it. It's shown too much strength and it's at my stop. Gotta get out. Interesting how there was some pre-activity before this move happened. Oh, now I don't feel so bad. It would have felt much worse if I timed the top. But seeing this make one extra leg gives me some resolve. All right, Emmy. Still kind of going sideways at this point. First green day in a week on GXAI. 2.65%. Dude, I feel it, man. It's been a rough market the last like 2 weeks, really. I feel it. I've mostly gone hands off at this point. Just no trades or just very small. Bounced off of EMA. Yeah, I still don't know how to judge it, right? Like, it's backside on the 1 minute, but like I said, on the 5 minute, it's still front side. So it all depends on perspective, I think. Man, now I'm not afraid or upset that I was losing on this one, because this one just kind of grinded. There was no real good pullback opportunity either. All right, looks like best opportunity was like a 30% retracement or something. Like a 40. Probably 40 would be best. Still not great. Peak was at 197. So currently it looks like I sold, what, 14 cents, 13 cents from the top, at least currently. I'm just happy we're actually seeing moves now, right? Like, last week was abysmally slow. We had the one move on MLEC or whatever. MLEC. And that was it. You were 1 cent away from your EMA fill. I hate it when that happens. I absolutely hate it. Whether it's you're 1 penny off of getting filled or 1 penny off of taking profit, both just feel terrible. Okay, so this pullback has more weight to it. There's higher volume on this pullback. This might actually be the start of the backside. Important to watch is how this holds up here. Does this hold up like it did at these areas? Immediately ripped 15 cents too. Are you talking about whenever it bounced? So are you talking to like here? Or in this area? Yeah, because it went up like 20, 25 cents or something. Yeah, tempting to hold here, but I'm more bearish now than bullish, honestly, in this position. Yeah, I'm just scalping right now on RME, EMA dip and rips. Hey, if it works, you know? Hit that like button. Exactly, Sky. If you're liking watching me lose money, hit that like button. Oh yeah, I guess if you guys haven't seen either, let me show it real quick. My main account is back above 5,000 now. I'll switch over real quick and show you. For all the non-believers. pull this up. Yeah. Oh, I can't have this as like its own screen. Oh, that's annoying. I don't want to leak my information. Okay, let me do this. Let me do this. I can still share it. I just need to switch the screens. Yeah. Yeah, I just need to keep it off of there. Yeah, $8.75. And now this account value is back above 5,000. So pretty cool. The Webull Premium bringing me back above 5,000. Okay, so switching back now. Okay, so we're back on this one now. Very interesting too is that Webull Premium gets applied to both accounts. So it is applied to the margin account as well, which I think is pretty cool. Small little thing. Listening as you're driving to work. Drive safe. Yeah, so a little frustrating that I seem to have read this well, at least initially. So I thought this was front side, all of this. Unfortunately, I was already in the trade, so I just kind of had to see it through. But I was more bullish on all of these bounces up. And on this specific one, I got bearish. So I'm curious to see if this bearish prediction plays out. It's looking like it is so far, but we'll see. What was the total move for this? Assuming this is the top. Yeah, we're looking like a 38% retracement right now. $30 news could grab attention. Certainly could. OLB moving is very cheap though. Yeah, only 55 cents. PayPal news. Partnership with PayPal to enhance secure pay payment gateway. I mean, it's a strong headline. It's just too cheap for me to get involved with, though. We'll see if we get any other 8:30 news catalysts. GXCI continuing to drop down. Yeah, so a little frustrating, right? I sold pretty close to the top. Not the very top, though. There was one final leg. Yeah, the key signal seems to be that this volume was a bit more elevated during this pullback than the volume on these other periods. Money rotation, Cap. You should have gotten back in. Focus shifted. No, well, so the problem is like mine is very specifically calibrated for one specific strategy. And that's been most of my research to this point. In hindsight, it did pull back, but for my specific strategy, I followed the rule. And it just was a little bit too tight of timing, right? I was pretty close. Like, my stop almost kept me in this trade. If this would have rolled over here, right? If it would have rolled over at these highs, then I would have still been in this trade. But you got to cut it at some point, especially when shorting. You really can't play with fire with just trying to time the top on it. If you get stopped out, you got to accept it. Yeah, well, OLB, very impressive move on it. Not surprised. I mean, the news seems very strong, so not at all surprised. Yeah, the unfortunate thing too is like, first of all, I do agree with you on the rotation mindset, right? This stock came into play, and at that very moment, GXAI rolled over. Now, GXAI was already fading before that, perhaps in anticipation of the rotation, because it was coming up on the half hour. But I have no backtesting data for that. Right, it's really hard to backtest saying, okay, this stock came into play, therefore it rolled over. It's very hard to backtest that. Man, OLB, 100, was that 100% move? Basically 100% move off of that. Over 100, yeah. 50 cents straight up to $1.10. Very crazy move. Yep, 140 total. Worth noting, like, I still would probably be red on GXCI, right? Even after this big pullback, still a little bit above my entry. You caught the whole move, massive win. That's awesome, dude. I mean, that's like 100% move. Incredible. I'm curious what your sizing was, right? It is a cheaper stock, so I would imagine you would have traded with higher size, but I don't know. Yeah, how much did you trade with? You say massive win, but are you just saying percentage, or are you saying actual dollar amount? Yeah, we could be seeing a market shift too. Like, it could just be that it was a hot day and people were hyped because of the pre-market moves. This is certainly possible. Or maybe we're going to see a genuine shift, right? GXAI did well, OLB did well. So maybe we just see a genuine market shift. $100 shares for penny stocks for me. We will minimum size for penny stocks. Got an OLB at 95, out at 1. Total green, FTD. FTD, full total dollar? Right. To date? F to date. I'm not sure what the F means. I'm guessing TD means to date. And then 20 share size for anything above a penny. Okay, yeah. Is that true though? Like, so like if I go here, I won't actually place the order. But if I go to OLB and I try to put an order at like, we'll just say like, we'll just do like 60 cents. It won't let me do like 10 shares. What? I did not know that. So you have to have at least 100 shares. I did not know that. You were red on the day on RIME, so I made my losses. Up only $10 on the day. I mean, at least you're green, certainly. Yeah, RIME, it was just a slower grinder. It didn't really move as fast. Yeah, GXAI made a pretty impressive move. Still sitting, haven't made anything. Still holding max pain. Yeah. He bought it 113. Dude, that's like literally the very top. I feel bad for him. It's rough for me too though, like, because I'm looking at this from a purely statistical standpoint. Me starting with a 42-cent loss is a pretty big blow to me. Like, my, not confidence, but just the risk reward is going to be bad now, starting with a max loss. It is very hard to, it's just hard to be green right now. Certainly. You could argue it should be easier for me because if stocks are not moving as much, it should be theoretically easier to short. And unfortunately, I trade one of the ones that do a big move. GXAI does have a history of doing it, but on that same token, it has also done some pop and drops. Less rememberable because people tend to only remember the bigger moves that it did. But yeah, good to see that you were able to get back to green. Go ahead and do out a poll here, since we've actually had some action today. All right, let's see what people have done so far today. I'm curious. We've had more action, so I would be surprised if the green and red days are higher and the no trade is lower. Don't be bummed out. Shorting is hard, especially when you get caught in a raw squeeze. It's gonna hurt. I had to leave shorting alone. Yeah, and on GXAI, I should have gotten out. It's not a big deal. I should have gotten out like 5 cents earlier. I got so hung up on this resistance line, I was willing to give it a little more breathing room. But my stop was saying I should have gotten out like 5 cents earlier. Right, I ended up getting out at 184. I should have got out at about 180. I was really waiting to see it hold above this line and close above it. But realistically, I probably should have been stopped out here because this was 180. This was actually where my stop should have stopped me. And it's also, it's so frustrating to see a stop. Like, you imagine the time this candle went up to 180. Stopping out here would have felt extremely painful, knowing that the stock immediately rolled over from there. Right? Being stopped out into max pain feels horrible. Shorting is so stressful after the GME squeeze and the billion-dollar losses and liquidations. That is absolutely devastating. Yeah, certainly from a longer-term hold, like if you're holding multi-day or if you're holding during the day. Right? I've seen stocks, like Chinese stocks that have halted up during the day, and they gap up like 500%. And then you got moves like multi-leg runners, where like you have GME or SMX, where they end up running up hundreds of percents over the span of weeks. Those ones are certainly scary. I don't see a lot of evidence for pre-market. There's been some, like you had MPT recently, you had even just this morning, right? PLYX. This one wasn't shortable, but like there have been moves that have done this, and my data filters it out. I haven't seen, I've looked at like 2 years worth of data, and I don't see anything that I've been inherently stuck in using my criteria. And even if I get stuck in it, like my edge should be statistically strong. So it's sad to see that I got stopped out so early here. But yeah, early being on my first trade, not, yeah. With PLYX and MPT, I almost want to quit shorting trading. Yeah. Well, MPT was a Chinese pump and dump. It was very obvious in hindsight. And even foresight, it was predictable. MPT was definitely avoidable. OLB trying to make another move. Come on, let's see some. No. It's not my criteria. Nope. I have pretty strict criteria for what I'm looking for. This does not meet it. It's $1 million badge holder in Ross chat room. He shorts stocks. He says not to ever short stocks during market hours. They can keep getting halted and you can't get out. Yeah, that's my big... Well, not even that. Not even just that they keep halting. It's just that they halt, and then in one gap up, it goes up 300%. There's no way to manage your risk on that. Right? If you hold a stock going into a halt and you're long biased, worst you lose is everything. Right? They delist immediately after that. Right? The worst thing is you lose everything. If a stock halts up, it could gap up 300%. It could gap up 500%. Like, you don't know what it's going to gap up to. Yeah, I that was something I learned really early on with my testing, is that you don't screw around with market hours shorting. That's way too dangerous. True, you've got a lot of Chinese pump and dumps that will drop 90% in a day. But then you get like one out of every 200 moves that goes up like 500 or 1,000%. And it's on a halt up, so you can't do anything. I still have access to the course. Maybe I should watch his short selling. See what that guy has to say. TGCL, I think was the ticker last month. Hunted all day. Halted all day. The name sounds familiar. I feel like I saw that in my data. Is it this one? Yeah. When was this? 1:30. Yeah, I mean, I can't even go further back, like, on time frames to show it, because there's just no data. But yeah, this is why you don't short during the day. My God. Probably halted. I think it was delisted. Why would this delist? Like, what? It goes up like 1,000,000%, then delists? That's its legacy? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely halted, if not just delisted. I keep putting my... I saw that, JB. I saw that. You can't hide from me. Okay, so it does look like more people traded today. Yeah, a lot more people traded. Last week, we were seeing almost no engagement. When I was doing polls, we were having like 50, 60, 70% of people not taking a trade. And today, we had only 22% of people sit on the sidelines. So, makes sense, right? People were definitely more hyped because of the two big movers we had. Like, this drove a lot of FOMO, I'm sure. Right? Then we had GXAI, we had RME. So we've had more stocks that have come into play. VHub too. I forgot about VHub. Yeah, this one just kind of the Ross dump. Yeah, but more opportunity today for sure. My question I need to think about more now is this going to shift sentiment? Yeah, because GXAI made a bigger move. Is this like an outlier because GXAI just sometimes makes bigger moves? I'm not sure. Yeah, that'll be something to sit and ponder. OLB looks like it's giving back a lot of the moves. Hopefully Candyman's out. If he's still holding, I'm gonna feel so bad for him. I hope he's not still holding this. Yes, he said he got caught in multiple halts and couldn't get out. The stock kept gapping up huge percent. He said he would never short during market hours again. Yeah, and he has in 2 years. I'm excited to see what OLB does at open. Yeah, it'll be interesting, right? I mean, going to 112 or $1.12. Looking at the daily, that's a massive gap up. You got some support at around 87. It does look like it held there initially, so the daily support did act as support here. I mean, next support level, 68. Yes, next support level on the daily is way down here. This is a great chat room to have, by the way, on the side while trading. Just practicing with very small count. Thanks, guys. No, hey, I'm glad you find value from it. Definitely because I'm testing a new strategy, there's a lot less pressure on me. at least dollar-wise. I still want to do well, so I'm a bit upset because this is going to hurt my metrics. But as far as actual dollar cost, right, it's 42 cents. Like, who cares? Who cares? It's just 42 cents. I do want to check something, though. So I lost 42 cents, but that's not how much the difference was. So 184 was my sell or my cover price. 143 was the short price. Interesting. So I was not... So hold on. Am I misunderstanding something here? So like, let me cancel this. I need to find a stock that has like a borrow fee that's like significant. I can't actually even short. Wow, I can't even short this. Can you not short stocks under $1? Is that just a thing? You can't short stocks under $1 on Webull? Let me check GXAI. Is it shortable now? So I want to check something. Okay, I still can't even short it. Wow, so I was able to short it. So I was able to get locates here, but like around here, locates were empty. And still, even after this pullback, they're still empty. Interesting. Okay, I need a stock that I can short to test. That actually has some kind of short locate. RIME, it might have one. I kind of doubt it, but maybe. It's gone up a little bit. Maybe it'll be a higher fee. Okay, 26, perfect. All right, cool. So, see, estimated transaction fee. It's always been 1 penny. I've never seen it be more, but let me test it now. So, like, if I do, like... Okay, I need to actually be able to afford to short it. So, I'll do, like... 400, 500. No, 400. I'll do 400. That's full buying power. Let's see if it even lets me attempt to. Okay. I guess buying power is reduced on this stock. Can I do 200? No. 100? Okay. Yes! Okay! So the estimated transaction fee is always 1 penny, and it already bakes in the borrow rate. Okay. Okay, so it automatically does this calculation for me. Got it. I thought maybe this was just a flat fee, and then it applied this afterwards, and this wasn't telling me the actual fee. I see. That's pretty good, though. Well, No, that's still pretty good. Yeah, because on GXAI, when I shorted this, the borrow fee was 186%. So the fact that I only got charged 1 penny means even with a 184% borrow fee, that was still only 1 penny per share. That's huge value. That's huge value. Very interesting. Okay. That is reassuring, though. So it seems like the borrow rate isn't going to be a detrimental factor. The locates might be the limiting factor, but it doesn't seem like the actual fees themselves will. Then the only other question is, does my strategy actually work? Also, with only having 3 day trades, right, because of PDT rule, I gotta consider if I should use multiple accounts or if I should just fund a 25K account. It's gonna be really, it's gonna be so stupid if I have to make a 25K account just to trade one share. Like, that's gonna be so... The capital allocation is just gonna be so annoying if I have to do that. Imagine having a 25K account. Guys, I lost 42 cents today. So silly. But yeah, we're coming up on top of the hour. I will wait 5 minutes after the top, see if we get anything else new. But if nothing really comes up, I'm probably going to bounce. No, it's my initial falling knife setup was more closely aligned. Neither of my strategies are really 5-pillar based, though. No, I've deviated quite heavily. The falling knife setup, which is still, I guess, my main strategy, is very different. And this new shorting strategy is very, very different to Ross's system. It basically doesn't follow the 5 pillars. Yeah, there's no real overlap. No, but I'm mostly just looking for the average breakout, the average reversion relative to hot and cold markets. And there seems to be a strong correlation there. Unfortunately, we're just red the first trade, which sucks. But I do take some accountability. This loss should have been about 4 cents lower. I didn't get out whenever I was supposed to. I was trying to give it more wiggle room, but because I was like because I had the metrics into where if the stop is hit, immediate exit, no matter what. So me trying to say, well, it's at resistance, so maybe just trying to hold to see if it'll break down. And technically it did break down twice, but if anything, it should have been a cut for a smaller loss on these because the max loss was hit. And maybe going forward, I could look at that philosophy to say, if it hits my loss and it was just now a spike up and it looks like it could have a pullback, then maybe wait for a small pullback to try and get out for a few cents of profit or a few cents less of loss. That could be an argument. But realistically, me holding and then saying, okay, I'm going to keep holding to try and capture the retracement, at that point, it's going against the strategy. So a little bit of rule breaking on my part. Wouldn't have impacted this trade, but it is worth flagging. Pop and drop off EMA on OLB. Yeah, this one, very unfortunate breakdown on this one. Unfortunately, this one was just too cheap. There was a range of prices I was looking at. This was not in that range, so I just didn't touch it. Sucks too because it did retrace very nicely. I wonder how I'm gonna review the days now, because it was one thing whenever I was actually having trades with size, or at least some kind of share volume. Having only single share trades, I'm not really sure how I should make recap videos for them. Okay, so this one had a pop and it rugged. Still too cheap for me though. Turned out to be a falling axe rather than a knife, yeah. Getting some volume here. This one's earnings. For some reason, it didn't pop off immediately at earnings, but only now it's popping off. And a full hour later, almost. Very interesting. Yeah, top of the hour here, 3 minutes in. Really only GVH moving that I can see at the moment. This one's out of play, so I will not engage with it. Very weird volume profile, too. This thing just starts moving up on... Well, I was going to say no volume, but it's actually just that this volume is much higher that offset this volume. You can tell that there was just a volume surge right here. But yeah, if you guys aren't already subscribed and you liked the stream, maybe consider subscribing. I think I'm going to call it here for the day. 42 cents of loss. Should have been really like 38 cents. So really my loss was about 10 to 15% higher than it should have been on that trade. Because it was like a $1 stock. What was it? Yeah, $1 something stock. That blow through is to be expected. But yeah, just wanted to flag it. Yeah, you guys have a good rest of your day, though. I'll be back tomorrow. Unfortunately, first trade with the new strategy is an L.